Okay, so what we are going to do today is look at something called a free body diagram. So our free body diagrams, I guess I should have my pen on here. We have free body diagrams. And so far we have learned about the ideas that surround our forces, and we've also looked at how things are measured in terms of masses and also weights. So let's take, for instance, that we have a book on a table. So I'm just going to write book on a table. Okay. When we talk about free body diagrams, the first thing we're going to talk about is simply just the forces. So for instance, we have a book on a table. We have our table and we have our book. Okay, so a free body diagram is basically going to illustrate something that we can see visually. So we have our book, we have our table. Okay, with free body diagrams, what we are mainly going to be looking at is how these forces are acting on this object. So we have, and I'm going to put this in a different color now, we have a force that is acting down on this object. That force is the force of gravity. Okay, we also have, and I'll use a different color here, let's go with a green, a different force that is acting up on a book on a table, and that force is our normal force. Okay, so an easy way to illustrate this same exact thing is by simply placing a dot to illustrate the book. We have the force of gravity, and we have our normal force. It means the same exact thing. This and this, they're equal. Okay, so our free body diagrams are going to look something like that, where you simply just tell me what is going on with that particular force or that particular object. So I'm going to erase these. I'm going to show you a different example. And this one will actually involve something that is moving. So let's say that we, instead of that same book example, we are now going to look for a book. I guess I should put my marker on here. A book pushed off a table. There's a few ways that we can look at this one, but let's just say that we are looking for a person who is just pushing the book for the very first time. So that person is pushing it in that direction. Okay, so we have our table, we have our book, and we have somebody pushing this book. Okay, so again, we draw our dots. We always have a force that is acting on this particular book, being the force of gravity. Because this book is sitting on a table, we have our normal force. Notice that both of these arrows are going to be the same size. And because we have somebody pushing this book, that means that they are given a right-hand push. We have an arrow going to the right, and that is going to be an applied force. That means that somebody is applying a force to this book in order for it to move. Now, because this book is sliding across the table, we also have another force that's causing this book to slow down. That force, and a smaller arrow, is going to be the force of friction. And that's what our free body diagram will look like for this example. What you want to do today is I want you to try and figure out the locations that you found around the middle school and see if you can figure out which free body diagrams match with each of them. And tomorrow we will talk about free body diagrams in their entirety to figure out how well we did. So good luck, and we'll talk very soon.